I've always wondered about these things, of course, in the context of my mother tongue, Bhojpuri, in how we are losing touch with it, and all the issues that you raised in your talk was kind of touched a chord there with me. So thank you so much for that talk. I really appreciate. I'm glad I attended it. So thanks. Can I ask a question about these couple of books you mentioned? How to get hold of these household craft of the
Yes,
outside, and the other one was These Hills Hold Home.
yes.
Sorry.
Uh, Especially Professor Tamsila Au's books you will find on Amazon, Flipkart. But regarding the household crafts of the owls, I don't know whether it has been put up on the online shopping websites, but it was published by the Owl Students Conference.
Okay.
So that would not be a problem. We can
Okay.
arrange that.
All right. I'll get
Yes,
in touch with you about that later.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, of course.
Amazing talk. Just to echo what Ravi just mentioned, Aaron, this was really insightful about the hard work you're putting into, and I can completely understand the initiative, and this is really, really good. I know that
Yes.
you are working hard on the Our Language initiative. Are you aware of other communities also having similar initiatives? I have heard of Tenidia, which is, I believe, based on the Angami language.
Yes, yes.
So,
In fact, Denidi is far ahead of us when it comes to standardization, codification. They there is a possibility for people to take up PhD in Denidi because it's already a department under a central university. So it is very, very far ahead of us. But besides that, of course, the Sumi and the Lota, all of these, they have already set up their language academies. They are also working very hard. The Konyaks are also now working on bringing out their own dictionary and so on. So there's a wave, a movement going on to revive their languages and to promote their languages. Um, Sadly, in India, we have so many languages, but only 22 are under the age schedule of the constitution. So I still am trying to figure out what are the parameters under which these languages have been recognized under the age schedule. But it would have been nice if, all languages were given equal opportunities because now that the National Education Policy 2020 has come in, the UGC is focusing only on the 22 languages when it comes to using the vernacular languages in the classrooms and also translation of textbooks and so on and so forth. So all fundings, all attention, all focus is on these 22 languages only. Where what about the rest of the hundreds of languages that are spoken by Indian people across the country? And so there is no equity. Under what parameters, I do not know, but I think every one of us, we need to address this also.
right. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification and information.
Actually, Arun, I just want to share a little thing from my own perspective.
Yes.
First
Mm-hmm.
of all, thank you for giving a bigger insight, deeper insight, especially from our language perspective. Uh, for a long time, I've been thinking that Ao is just a dialect in the dialect stage, but I'm happy to learn that you have been referring to it as a language. I'm happy about that, first of all, and thank you. Now that since you're the more expert person and dwelling on the language on at the higher level and deeper level. I have gained much insight, but one, just from my perspective experience that I want to share is that since you have rightly said that amongst the Nagas, I think the Angamis, this 10-year day is more advanced than us. And our is also trying our best. Now we are at a stage where we have just about began to develop our language. Now at this stage, I've just learned. I mean, I came across an incident. It happened in amongst our own relatives. I was born and brought up in Dimapur, and in my family, my wife is from Chungi. That is the group of our whose language is the official, considered as the official. And I'm from
Yes.
Mongsan. That is
Yes.
the second what section of language that we are using. So at my home, I just made it a rule that at home my children should speak Mongsan, because if I cannot teach my children this Bongsan, then when they go out, they will naturally be able to learn English and Nagamese. That would not be a problem. Even Hindi also. And even Chungli also, when they mingle with their friends, uh, of especially Ao, then they will be have the opportunity to learn this Chungli. That is the official our language. So home is the only place where my children will be able to learn Mongsan. That's why I made it just like a rule, and now they have learned, and I'm happy about that. Now, one incident, just maybe 1 month back or so, maybe 2 months back, my children of my cousin, they are staying. They came from Mochung. So the children of my cousin, they were speaking English. And then I asked my nephew that uh, can you, I just asked him, can you understand and can you speak Ao? And he said, yes, I can. I understand, but I prefer to speak in English more. So I think when we talk about our language, where, as I said, we're trying to just about develop. And then at this stage, again, we are somehow losing the track with this new generation people, kids. And again, one very shocking discovery is that the very kids from our mainland, they're focusing or they're more interested in English like that. So I think we have this general thinking that the children growing up in Kohima and Dimapur, because these are more like these cosmopolitan areas where many people of many different communities dwell. So naturally, they are exposed to all different kinds of uh, languages and dialects. So most uh, commonly they use English. So we have this general idea. But I think we need to focus on Mokokchung also, the people, the children of this present generation. They are more attuned to English now. That's what I discovered. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
share with
Yeah, yeah. Yes, of course, I was generalizing when I spoke about Kohima and Dimapur. It all depends on the family, of course, the parents, their understanding. It's just that your family may be unique in the sense that your children still speak the mother tongue at home and all that. But there are also many families in Dimapur and Kohima where children may speak it at home, but not with their friends outside or in the public domain. So
Right.
that is one thing we need to be alerted to, because
Yep.
we
True.
may
True.
speak at home, mom and
Right.
dad may speak at home, but when they go out, they don't have that uh, space, and they don't have the kind of friends to actually speak the mother tongue.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, so of course in Mukukchung also there is still that maybe a mistaken perception that speaking English means you are, you belong to the elite or something like that. So there are some families who forcefully try to use English in their homes rather than the mother tongue. There are, but the slight difference is that at least in Mukukchung, when you go out into the public spaces, or you go to church, or you go
Mm-hmm.
to the playground or in the school, there are more people who are speaking your own language,
Right.
which is
Right.
why that threat seems to be less. But of course, like you said, it's much, much more to do with the family, the understanding of the parents. And therefore, we need to encourage and we need to sensitize every family that knowing many languages, of course, is important, and
Right.
especially English, because we know that its importance in all the spheres, all disciplines, all areas of life. But
Correct.
still, we also need to let people know that knowing your language is not something embarrassing, or speaking in your language is not something embarrassing.
Yeah.
Rather, um, it is a way of showing that you know where you come from, and you are able to display it in your life, something like
Right.
that.
Right.
So a lot of sensitization still needs to be done, because
Yeah.
maybe some generations back, knowing English was the most important thing.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, but not at the cost of our mother tongue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. True. True. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Aaron, yeah, sorry, I've just reached home. I have two questions. One, you talked about, like when you were talking about some books you were searching in our language, you talked about some ICT or some center in Impur. What is it? And the next question is like, Arya was talking about standardization of languages at the level of district, states, or country. So in Nagaland also, I heard means 20, 25 years back, we used to hear a lot that Nagaland need to have one common language. So they were trying to develop one language which is common to all the tribes of the Nagas. So I don't know if it is taking any shape now, or it is like continuing or not.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Impur is the mission center. Uh, it's the mission center where Dr. E.W. Clark and his wife and the missionaries came and started their mission, started the schools, Bible schools, and so on. So there is a library there where all the ancient books can be found. So it's a library, the import library, where we search for the books, the our books. That is the answer to your first question. And the second one is, um, um, I guess English has so long been used as the official language and common language. So uh, I don't know if there will be any dominant tribal language that will be able to take over the English as the official language. So uh, that is that is one fear. And I don't think it will be quite possible to have one indigenous language as a common language, because because every tribe would like to have their would like to promote their language. So that may that may be a little tricky to answer, Kirti, and it's not for me to decide.
And informally, Nagami is already there as a common thread
Yes, but
anyway
it
between
is
tribes.
just a Bigden language. It does not have any grammatical rules or anything like that. It has no spelling system or grammatical rules or any of
So
that.
it does feel like a very
Yeah,
grammatically broken language, doesn't it? It
it's
does
a
sound like
It's kind of a Creole.
it's a yeah Creole language, a mix of many languages, but we get by
oh yeah,
with
of course.
different tribes because of that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, and
for me, who didn't speak any of the
uh,
other tribal languages because didn't stay in one area for too long,
mhm.
Nagamese was kind of a mother tongue, a second mother tongue.
Yes, yes.
And also, Aaron, I have one question. So, uh, I know that the world has become very, very fast these days compared to when we were in college, when there was no internet. These days, like books and things like that, even like my son, he doesn't like to read books that much because it takes a lot of time. There are too many pages, 800 pages of a novel. He won't spend much time. But what I've seen sometimes work are the, pulp fiction kind of works like detective novels or, the short stories, uh, which
Mm,
appeal to the younger generation.
yes.
So, is there an initiative where, say, you try to translate some of the famous works from another language which fall into this genre into the Ao language, so that the young kids they can at least read those books, the interesting books which are small and fast, right? Which may pick their interest in their own mother tongue.
Mhm. Yes, that's a very good and interesting suggestion, Arya, because uh, I think that is actually the way to attract young people to learn the language while they read stories as well. So that's very interesting, and we would like to work towards that also. Only thing is we will need illustrators, which none of us are, and so we will need teamwork, we will need collaboration, we will need the assistance of many more creative people.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, since most of you are from the science background, um, in the Northeast, there are only two languages that have natural language processing. That is Assamese and Meitei from Manipur. And because they are into natural language processing, they also are featuring in their languages are powered by AI, and they have Google Translate and so on. And that's how fast I think Assamese and Meitei will grow compared to the other Northeast languages. Because today everything is digital. Children want to watch videos on the phone, and instead of reading a book, like you say. So I think the fastest way to promote a language would be to incorporate that language into the natural language processing, machine learning, AI, and things like that. But I would like to hear from my friends here also who are into computers and programming and things like that. How feasible is it? Like if if we can work towards grammar rules and spelling uniformity and things like that, and also be able to give the sounds of the languages, will it not be so difficult to incorporate it into Google Translate and things like that? So
I mean,
that is a suggestion I would like to throw to you also.
English is the funniest language in the world, and they have all the translations and everything defined through the computer. So I'm
Yes,
sure, I'm sure
yes,
uh, the other languages in Nagaland and
Any
uh,
language can
should be
have it.
sufficient around it, I
Yeah.
think, because English
mm,
is. I mean, I recently heard somebody talking about English, how the modern English language has evolved, right? And
mm-hmm,
the native like centuries back, the main language was Gaelic apparently in England, and then the Anglo-Saxons came and they brought the Germanic side of it, and then in the 10,000s or 1,000s and 1100s, the Normans came from France and the French got introduced, and then in the next few hundred years after that, it became a pot boiler of these different languages coming together, and it has evolved into the language today we call English. It is, that's why it sounds so funny sometimes. Um, so yeah, I wanted to mention something or extend something on what Arya was saying, right? About the books and things. From my experience here, right? It's quite interesting how they introduce language to primary school children here in terms of learning English. And one of the things that really interested me was how every day in primary school they will introduce to learn the homework will be read one line or write one line kind of thing. And then as the children progress from nursery to year one and year two and year three of school, they start reading more and more. And the kind of books they have, that they read every day, they have to read one book, which is when they're in class one, but the book is like only just 2 or 3 pages, but it will tell some some facet of everyday life, like going to school or going to the shop or visiting the dentist or doing something of the daily life, and put it in some illustration and something that some anxiety, some excitement, add something
mm-hmm,
in the story, and then that will be your homework for the child to do it in
mm-hmm,
for that day. And gradually, they by the time they are in year 5 and 6, they're really very independent readers of book, and there are lots of age relevant books that are available. I don't remember seeing, or in our time having that kind of exposure to that our age group of books in that sense. So I think that could be something worth exploring in terms of how English is introduced here, and then maybe if we can what do you say, replicate some of the tools or techniques
mm-hmm.
we use for the local languages, that I think
Yes,
would be quite interesting.
yes, correct.
And also to add to the suggestion that I gave about translating like detective stories or simple short stories into
Mm-hmm.
our language.
Yeah,
Um, I
the
would,
stories we enjoyed as children.
yeah. So the
Yes.
other point being, do not try to pick words or works or books which are easily available in the English language.
Mm-hmm.
Try to pick works from any other language, uh, maybe any other Indian language or any other world language, let's say German or Russian or French, which have very, very strong literature, but those works may not be as popular in English as the others.
Mm-hmm.
And try to translate those, because
Mm-hmm.
if there is an English alternative, I can guarantee you that children will gravitate towards the English work.
Mm-hmm.
They said, hey, yeah, Sherlock Holmes is already there in English. Why should I read it in now? Right. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
the other point. Try to pick up something which is not that popularly available in English as a language, and then try to translate that that might be a little bit more successful rather than translating something like a Hercule Poirot or a Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Arya has given a very interesting insight of uh, of the translation from other books or other languages. Just with Aaron, yeah, just the former speakers have said about English transforming. Even I think our language has also transformed a lot. For example, I don't know the many of the words of the old Ao dialect.
Yes. True.
For example, in the very old ancient Ao language, sun is
Yes.
referred to as zoni, but
Yes.
today we call it as anne or zni in Mongson.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like that, even
True.
these languages keep on evolving. So now, leaving that aside, and of this upgrading our language to a codified form, is it necessary or is it a very important aspect that we should have a script to develop it into this next level?
Uh, if we develop a new script now, then all of us become illiterate once more. In the sense, we have to start learning the alphabets again. So it would be a difficulty. So actually, a man by the name of Emil Wati, he has come up with Gaman Naga script, and
Mm-hmm.
he has used motifs and signs from the artifacts and farming tools that we use. So his alphabets are shaped somewhat like Chinese letters,
Mm-hmm.
but and he actually wanted to endorse those alphabets as a Kaman Naga script, but no one was, willing to take it up because we have since 1872 and later on 1879 when school started and all that, we were introduced to the Roman script.
Yeah,
And so
right.
now to go back to learning our ABCDs with a new script
Mm-hmm.
is far more difficult than actually continuing with the new old one. So that is the problem.
Yeah.
So practically, I don't think it will be. It's better to stick with what we have
Mm-hmm.
and then try to improve on it.
Yeah. I don't know if that is the person you mentioned, MLWT,
Yes.
but once I talked with Dr. Lulan.
Yes.
I
Yes.
hope you're aware
Yes.
about him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something about maybe not about MLWT, but I've forgotten his name. But he said that the script that he suggested were had a lot of influence from already founded or set up language.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They are not actually a very what what were developed by that person of his
Mm-hmm.
own creation, but there
Mm-hmm.
were he founded that what that Dr. Lulan said is that
Mm-hmm.
it had influences of some other language. He
Oh.
said like that.
Uh-huh. Okay. I have not heard of that, but this Emil Wati belongs to Oma village, and he also studied linguistics. He studied theology, and he was also the first person to come up with a grammar book for Ao. He's very good at coinages, and the grammar book that we are improving upon now, because we have PhDs in linguistics, Slight moderations have been done, but the seminal work was actually done by Emil Wati, and he has published a book where he recommended a common Naga script. So it's quite interesting, but it was too late, I should say. Otherwise, he's a very creative man.
Yeah, I found a picture of the script.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot share it because sharing is not enabled. But yeah, I'll put it on the WhatsApp group. It's very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. If
Okay.
Meren, if you're interested.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're faster than me on that.
Maybe Maren can start learning that and
It seems that was
write his first book.
Yeah, yeah, or maybe face the same problem as you have already mentioned.
yeah. It was created in 1957. It says
Mm-hmm.
by another person called Eno Kyaklung.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Okay,
not
okay.
heard anything from Tarachu, Ethan. Hi guys, haven't heard from you for a long time. Good to see you here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, this Tarachu here. Yeah, it's
Hi
quite
Tara.
interesting.
Mhm.
In fact, I'm listening very attentively, and it's quite an eye-opener for me here. In fact, it's a new thing for me, but definitely it's something that is really, really very important. Like, for instance, at home, we, I just realized that, whenever I want to communicate something that is important, I tend to tell my children in English, you know, because my children cannot understand, nor my language cannot express like
Mm.
the way we would like to communicate, or yeah, whatever it is. So I think it's quite a lesson for me too here. And when we're talking about this a for common language for Nagas as a whole, just a wishful thinking, as our Dr. Aaron was saying that it's very late, but what I feel is language is, as we know, that the most important binding factor for the people, for anywhere, and especially for Nagas, since we have different language, and to adopt one tribe language as a common language is going to be very tricky, and it's not possible at all. So I was just thinking as I listened to the presentation, and I was just thinking whether scholars like yourself, Dr. Aaron, whether we can have a forum or a group of scholars, one from each tribe, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and come up with a language that is, inclusive of all the tribe languages,
Mm-hmm.
because no tribe language will have all the necessary vocabularies or whatever. I don't know the terminology.
Mm-hmm.
So we can bring in the best and whatever the best from each of the tribes, and can we start in such a way that it has a language from all the tribes, which may be more acceptable if we have, if it is a language, unlike Nagamese, if it is a language that is having, that has from all the tribe language, that may be more acceptable. Just a wishful thinking.
Yeah.
So other than that, yeah, it's quite interesting. We didn't know that you are doing such a very important work. So wishing you all the best, Aaron. We hope
Thank you.
that it will be a learning experience even for the other tribes as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Tarachu, yeah, what you are wishfully thinking, it's just that languages are not like building blocks where you can assemble them, build a ship, disassemble them, and dismantle it and then build a tank. So the problem is that we cannot invent language. Also, it just has language has to evolve, and for all the tribes to come together and create one common language will be more difficult than actually trying to promote all our languages, all the languages that all the tribes speak. And then historically, politically, we have English now as our common language, and we understand each other. We are able to communicate quite well, and this has come to stay. We cannot drive it away. Plus, it also has that predominant international importance. So instead of coming together and trying to create or invent one common language, which is almost impossible, I think we should all stick to English as the language where everyone will be able to articulate their thoughts, emotions, but at the same time, um, we should all try to elevate and promote our indigenous languages to higher levels, to higher levels in academia and so on, so that it doesn't die. At least it doesn't die. Otherwise, um, according to reports, every month 3 languages die. And I just looked up Wikipedia one day and I found out that just last year, in the year 2024, 3 Indonesian languages died. So for now, unless there is a total reshuffle that takes place, I think English will always be there because historically, politically, it has happened, and we cannot do away with it now. But the second most important language that we need to learn and our children need to learn maybe Chinese, Mandarin. But keeping aside those international languages, they are all very important. Our children should learn them. But at the same time, whatever small efforts we can do to not let our language die. That's what I feel. Because at the level that we are now, it might die if we do not promote it, if we do not let our children learn our mother tongue. So that's where we are, I feel. Thank you. Anyway, I don't know whether I've answered your question or
Yeah,
whether that
that's quite
satisfies.
interesting. That's quite interesting, actually. Yeah, in a sense, language cannot be invented. Yeah, it is a process of evolution. Yeah, so you're
Mhm,
absolutely right. Yes,
mhm,
I was just thinking of one more thing.
mhm.
In the process of standardization, are some of the languages in the process of standardization are at risk of dying or whatever you are saying?
Uh, I don't know all the languages, but from my experience, um, most languages, most Naga languages are now at least taught in the school level. So children will still learn it. And if it is in the school level, that means there is a certain grammar that has been developed, and uh, at least people are giving some effort to ensure that there are stories, there are chapters and textbooks written in that language. So uh, these languages need to keep improving. But I think there are still some languages in Nagaland which are not even taught in the schools. So, what will happen to those languages? I feel. Because now, if children don't learn, if the future generation don't learn, who will carry it forward? It will die with the last speakers, just like those, the Sari language or the Machi language and all. It will have its slow death, and I think there are still many languages in Nagaland that are yet to be, you know, standardized or codified.